first few jobs as a creator, and I spent days and days worrying and stressing over like $100 video for a brand.
Who is Nicole Wallace?
She is a model, actress, creator, and former NBA dancer, known for her talent in entertainment and performance.
She has built a strong presence through her work in dance, media, and creative endeavors, captivating audiences with her artistry and energy.
I feel like this topic will be so interesting to a lot of girls. What are your take on OnlyFans? Would you approach guys as a girl? Why is all the girls love like murder stuff and all of this craziness? What's going on, dear friends? Thank you so much for tuning in for another great episode of Tom Talk Success, where we bring you a lot of different entrepreneurs, people that want to level up, and people that achieved a lot of great stuff. And today I have a true pleasure to have Nicole. Amazing girl. I've done a lot of stuff, and especially in the creator space, social media. Was a dancer, right, in the NBA, which is a huge accomplishment, and turned also her career to the acting space. Thank you so much for coming. How's your day going so far?
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. Today has been so good. You know, no day is the same, but I think that's what's kind of fun about my career, which we'll get into today.
Yeah. And so if you want to maybe start with what kind of been exciting in your life kind of in the last year or so. I see on your social media you've been like literally going through a lot of different stuff. If you can share with us.
What is the most exciting? I think in the past year, that's when my career has really taken off, especially just in the past few months. So it's funny how these little incremental movements and ways that I've decided to direct my energy and focus has added up to what some could say, an overnight success.
Yeah.
There's a saying that every overnight success takes 10 years. So the past year, I booked my first music video just a couple years ago in Miami with John Legend and Saweetie, and that's pretty crazy, amazing. And then just in the past year, I say I've been more focused on my acting and modeling. So I've signed with agencies I've always dreamed of signing with in New York City and in South Florida.
Congrats.
And I've done commercials for all these brands I've always wanted to work with. So really, like, everything you see in my career now has pretty much taken place in the past year. So that's a really loaded question.
No, that's pretty amazing. So you mentioned to me when we spoke that you kind of start from nothing. Obviously, no connections, didn't have anybody that you kind of knew. And so what would you tell the audience in terms of how you were able to achieve that?
I think it's more simple than we want to make it. I believe that everyone has a little voice in their head. My voice told me to be in the entertainment industry. And so I just stuck with that voice and listened to myself. And I think that's what kind of made it easy for me. It was just following that, and, God makes it all work out in the end.
Wow. And so you started as I want to talk to you about it. It's pretty crazy. I remember when I moved, when we first went to my first NBA game, the cheerleader are crazy, obviously here in Miami and in America. And so can you share with us how is it the experience to be an NBA cheerleader? It sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, it's definitely rewarding, because as someone that's a creative in the creative space or a dancer, to do something your whole life as a hobby and it turns into your first love and your passion in life, to be able to say you did it professionally and actually make money from it is just, it's a dream come true. Like, it's unbelievable. So not only did I do that, but I think the real pleasure that came from it was being able to connect with so many people in that industry as a part of the Pacers, actually. And just being able to touch so many people and help so many people in little micro ways, whether it's a little smile at a kid or, free tickets to a game. I think that was really cool how I got to touch people in that way.
And so for you, was that like kind of like a dream? Kind of you looked at some movies and watched those stuff and say like one day I want to be a cheerleader? Like, how did this idea came to you?
I would say part of the reason why I'm in the entertainment industry is definitely watching movies and the inspiration that I got from certain characters. I always liked watching, the movies where like the cool girl was either, an actress or whatever. She was a cheerleader. And I think that definitely inspired me to become the cheerleader that I was and get into the industry that I'm in.
Wow. And so when you finished with the cheerleading, what was kind of like your kind of dreams after that? Were you like inspired by some stuff?
Oh,
kinda...
yeah. So I've had a plan. I mean, I wanted to be a Disney star when I was little.
Wow.
I lived in Avon, Indiana, in the middle of cornfields. And
That's crazy.
I came up to my mom at like 8 years old and I said, can we move to LA so I can be an actress? And she looked at me like I was crazy. Like, what is my 8-year-old daughter even saying right now? We live in Indiana. We own this home. We have our jobs here. We're not moving. So from that moment forward, I knew I was on my own to make it.
Wow.
And so ever since I was 8, I knew I wanted to act, but I think dance was my first step in my introduction into the industry. So after dance, I knew I didn't want to be on the team all of my 20s. Like most girls stay on the team until they're 30 because they just love it so much.
You mean the cheerleading, right?
The cheerleaders,
Right.
yes. And well, at least with the Pacers, they stay with the team forever because really it's great and it's a great organization. But I knew my time was limited from the time that I joined because, you know, you only have so many years in your 20s. What do I want to do with that? I knew I wanted to do more than just dance. So I planned on staying for 2 years. I stayed 4 because I couldn't just leave after 2. And that's when I decided it was time for me to leave to start acting and modeling, or I was just going to be too late in the game to pursue that, or at least in my mind. I thought that at the time. And now,
Wow.
now I don't think it's ever too late. But yeah, so it was always a plan of mine to enter, you know, the modeling and acting industry after a few years with the team.
So I want to talk to you because I feel like there's probably going to be a lot of girls that, you know, going to watch this this podcast and they look at you like as kind of like an inspiration to them. They you know, they see your success and they want to, you know, get to that point. But you know, maybe they're in the point where they're not comfortable with the way they look, or they're not comfortable, you know, with, you know, going to agencies and introducing themselves. Mm-hmm. What were some of the tips you will give them?
I think the only way you're going to get comfortable in anything in life is if you just expose yourself to it more. So it's just starting. A lot of people don't know where to get started. I think asking questions and showing curiosity is the first good step, positive action towards, you know, making your dreams and goals come true, or seeing if it even is for you and it's something you're actually passionate about. Not everyone has to be passionate about acting, but maybe if you're not an actress or, you know, wanting to be a model, you can take this and direct it towards whatever you are passionate about. But I think it's just exposing yourself, you know, getting familiar with photographers in the area, getting familiar with casting directors, watching YouTube videos on how people do it. And then the next step after exposing yourself is just taking action. A lot of people don't put in the action, and then they realize once they finally put one foot forward how easy it really is and how things just come together when you keep taking one step at a time.
Wow. And so I want to actually talk to you about, you know, the modeling space. I feel like this could be very kind of interesting to a lot of girls to, you know, they probably want to get to that, but they're afraid because of, you know, like, obviously a lot of cliches and a lot of, you know, people that experience some stuff, especially women in this space. Mm-hmm. And so how do you deal with like not being afraid to, you know, from, I guess, you know, people taking advantage mm-hmm. and stuff like that? Like how can you as a woman, as a girl, to kind of be like, all right, I know what I'm doing and I feel comfortable?
With some of it, unfortunately, comes experience, again, just exposing yourself, but also educating yourself in every way. I read books on psychology, manipulation,
wow.
stuff so that I can avoid being manipulated. And, you know, it helps you with street smarts so that when you're out there, you're like, okay, this isn't real. There's a lot of, you know, people who say they're something that they're not, or things that are just not really worth your time with the direction that you want to go. So you have to be picky about what brands you're working with, what people you're working with, because most of the time you're not actually investing in the product or the brand, but you're investing in the people you're working with, which is very important. And just being aware of your worth and not being afraid to articulate and voice your strength and your boundaries, because I think that's really important to not be stepped on or waste your time anywhere.
I agree. And so before we, you know, came to the studio, we had actually an interesting talk, you know. We were talking about, you know, all the girls out here, right? Especially here in Miami that Some of them, I guess, are looking kind of for their, rich husband or whatever that they kind of take care of them. And so
Yeah.
we both kind of agree that, we both at least feel that it's not actually the right way to do stuff. And so, like I told you that for me, girls that actually work on themselves and have, future plans and want to achieve big dreams, like it's a big green light. And, if there's girls out there that just wait for somebody to pay for everything, like, I'm not saying not to do it, but I'm saying take it in kind of in a good way. And so I want to kind of hear your opinion on that, as a girl. What do you think about those situations?
So I'm going to quote Shania Twain. I watched a little documentary on her, and I don't know word for word because it was a couple years ago, but she said something along the lines of, no one can take anything away from you that you gave to yourself. So as fun as it is to, get things from people and wait, I don't think it's fun waiting around, but as easy as it could be to wait for something, I don't think it's really worth waiting around for someone to give you an opportunity or give you the life you want or give you the trip or money or bags or cars that you want. I think that's nice in theory, but why wait? You deserve to give it to yourself and work towards those things, and it makes life a lot more fun along the way.
I agree. And I actually like what you just said, in terms of waiting, like don't wait, instead go all in and try to get your goals. And so what do you think are some of the ways that, especially in our society with social media and, girls that kind of looking to expand and want to achieve some stuff, but they say, you know what, I'll just rather wait with that. Like how you will say to them, like, all right, get inspired, start doing stuff with your life kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for some people, that's just their personality and that's what works for them. For me, it doesn't. And for the girls who are curious and maybe there's more for them, just, how about explore your curiosity? You owe it to yourself again. So go explore your curiosity, put some action into your dreams, and you'll be surprised what you can get from it.
Wow. And so when you started, you had a lot of support from your family? Because I want to talk about it, because I feel like there's a lot of, girls or either boys, doesn't really matter, that, have this kind of set life that they need to go to college, they need to achieve this degree or whatnot.
Yeah.
And there's like a certain way they got to go through. But what would be your take on that?
It's a difficult road, I'm sure, for most people, because especially with this industry, it's not something a lot of people have a lot of knowledge on or awareness or experience with. Even for me, I was just kind of winging it.
Wow.
So I think it scared my parents that they had a daughter who was just winging it and not following, a given path, especially an Indiana girl where my dad was a engineer and my mom was a physical therapist, so they just thought I was going to get a degree and have a normal job.
Like the regular said that everybody needs to go through.
Yeah. So they gave me a really safe and amazing path in life, and they gave me a great start. Lots of support, took me to all my dance classes, paid thousands of dollars for me to be a dancer. But when I told them I wanted to be a professional dancer, they said I had to go to school for something else. So that was a little frustrating, but I ended up going to Kelley School of Business, which was awesome. I have an amazing business degree that my parents helped me with, so I'm very blessed for that. And I was able to dance for the MBA at the same time.
Wow.
So I got the best of both worlds. And then when I was on my own, I've kind of taken things on my own, and it's actually been really wonderful seeing my parents' eyes open and their belief in me grow as I take one step at a time and conquer this, and then I conquer that. And now they kind of just know that I'm someone that can be okay on my own, and they think that,
now they're trusting
Nicole. Yeah, they trusted me, and they know that no matter what, I'll take care of myself and I'll be okay, which is a good feeling for them. But I think it was very scary for them at first.
So you're a very social person, obviously. By the way, this is your first podcast and you're doing amazing,
Thank
obviously
you.
not afraid to talk to the camera and not shy. I want you to help the audience with some of your tips on how to not be shy, how to be confident about yourself.
Yeah, so there's so much that could go into that question, but I think the main thing is exposing yourself to it, because ever since I was in high school, or whenever Instagram came about, high school, I think really in college, I knew I wanted to be an influencer, and I was always speaking to the camera. And I remember getting my first few jobs as a creator. And I spent days and days worrying and stressing over like $100 video for a brand, and you know how it had to be, and my lines and how I looked on camera and how I sounded. And it's really not that deep. Again, the more you expose yourself to it, not only the better you get at it, but the more comfortable you are.
I feel like the less you care too, right?
Yeah, and then it just makes it quicker and more enjoyable. So just exposing yourself to it over and over again. Maybe not the word practicing, but doing it over and over again. It will really help your confidence. That's it.
I want to ask you something that I'm kind of curious, because I had this conversation with a couple of girls the other day. And we had this conversation about if a girl, like let's say, there's a night out and in the bar or whatever, this club, and there's girls that want to, look at the guy and I guess, they like him or something. And, the guy might not see her. Would you approach guys as a girl, or there is never a situation like that? Because some girls said they would and some girls say they wouldn't. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of curious to know your opinion on that.
I think it's an energy thing. I've approached guys if I felt comfortable doing so. And then there have been times where I'm like, it's reading the room. Like, probably not the right moment, not going to do it. Would I prefer a guy to come up to me? Sure, because it's just easier.
Natural.
And I don't have to lift a finger. Awesome. But I'm not afraid to go up to a guy, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, what are you losing? I don't think, unless the guy's going to be,
exactly
mean, that's a character flaw on his part. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think if anything, he'll laugh and say something back to you.
I agree. And so what was some of the tips you will give to the girls out there in terms of, being more, so we talked about being confident, on camera and stuff like that, but really be confident in real life. I feel like it's different,
Yeah. I think the more confident I've become in my career, it's correlated to my confidence in real life. And maybe vice versa. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but I think just being yourself and not being afraid to be genuinely yourself. Like, I'm not afraid to be quirky and weird. And I have my little quirks, the way I talk, the way I move. And the more I just let myself flow and be my true, genuine self on social media, around boys, around my friends and family, the more confident I am, because then I'm not masking or feeling like I need to act a certain way in order to get likes or be liked by people in person. And then it draws the genuine, real people to you that are meant for you. And I think people can sense when you're being yourself. So they're more likely to like you when you're yourself. So it really doesn't matter if you think a quirk of yours is weird or less attractive, because at the end of the day, maybe it's what's attractive about you. Maybe it's what makes you different and makes people comfortable around you, because they can tell you're being genuine.
So looking back at your career, right, especially in the modeling, in the content creation space, what would you tell the audience in terms of how to build themselves up, right? If they kind of want to go into that career, what are some of your tips?
Build themselves up as far as building an audience.
Building an audience, building a career out of content creation. What are some stuff that helped you with that?
Yeah, so building a portfolio first and foremost, and then building connections. So I built my content creation portfolio. All of my portfolio actually was not branded content. I just used it because it looked like it could be. So whether it was a video of me talking, or a video of me, or a photo of me posing in an outfit, I said it was branded for my portfolio, but it wasn't, because you got to start somewhere,
You got to fake it until you make it.
Yeah, you might not have anything, but you can have stuff that works to portray that visual, so you can put it in someone's mind that, maybe she's never acted a day in her life, but her talking to this video, I can visualize her as this character in my new short film. I'll book her, or content creation, or whatever, photo shoot. So I think just, starting your portfolio from there, and then talking to people, doing a lot of brand outreach. I used to only let brands and people reach out to me, and I realized I was missing out on a lot of opportunity, because sometimes you just have to knock on the door and ask, and that's the only way it'll be given to you. And then once you do that job well, and you stay in contact with them, and you keep posting that you're working, because people want to see that you're working, and then you'll be top of mind. Oh, I saw she was modeling the other day. I need a model to stand in today. Let me, contact her or him. I think the more you show that you're working and putting yourself out there that I am blank, even if you're not yet. I am an actress. I am a model. I am a creator.
You will get it.
This is my work, even if it's not real work yet. It'll allow that person to visualize you as that already, and then you'll just be that. It's as simple as that. So yeah, just putting your portfolio and work out there, and then keeping those connections and those relationships you build, because now they're going to use you for their next project and their next project, and someone else that's friends with them is going to see you in that and ask you to do their projects, and next thing you know, you have a book of clients.
So what are some stuff that you will say helped you to increase your followers, right? Let's say there's girls out there that want to kind of be like you in terms of, content creation.
Yeah.
How they will increase their followers?
It was never my intent to gain followers. I wasn't posting in a way to gain or anything, but paying attention to what's new on Instagram and how Instagram works, obviously. So I'm always tagging the places, tagging the business, using trending music, tag, using hashtags, whatever I can, keywords to optimize my content and push it out to the right audience. And then that way the audience sees it, they comment, they follow, their friends like and follow, and it just goes on like that. So for example, if I'm a creator in the fashion industry, reels are huge now. They're newer than posts.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So, maybe create a reel in your outfit. Definitely optimize the keywords. So if you're looking for people who are into fashion, using the word fashion, using the word style, using the word influencer, and then tagging the store in as many ways as possible, and then using a trending audio and posting at a time that you think works best for your page and your audience, that reel will perform a lot better than a reel that has no tags, no trending audio, maybe low quality, and posted at a random time.
Yeah.
So just following the rules, I guess. Sure, probably, yeah.
What would it if you look back at your life, what would some of the stuff you would do differently?
I would be a lot nicer to everyone.
Wow.
Not that I was like a mean girl. I don't want to paint myself as a mean girl, but just any opportunity I could be. We let our emotions get the best of us sometime. Like the first person that comes to my mom is anytime I've yelled at my mom. My mom raised me. She put me in my dance classes that made me who I am today. So I'm like, maybe that one time I was upset, I shouldn't have yelled at her. But just stuff like that, I would never regret being nice to someone, but I feel like any time maybe I made someone a little upset. Yeah, I would definitely regret all of those times.
Well, it's always good to at least acknowledge that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what is next for you? In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Okay, so my goal, which hopefully it comes sooner than later. Here we are manifesting right now. I feel the energy. Is to be in a film that plenty and tons of people see. Because I've done some short films this year, and I did a TV show all on social media platforms. Nothing yet on a streaming platform. I think there's one.
Soon on Netflix?
Yeah, there's one that will be on a streaming platform, but I'm a background. I'm like a featured background. But I want to be on a streaming platform where I'm one of the lead actresses.
Wow.
In the next 5 years. And hopefully multiple. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to hear. What are your takes on the watches? Are you like to watch movie shows and like Love Island, Too Hot to Handle, all those stuff? Are you into those stuff?
I'm not really a reality TV show girl.
Wow. I was looking at you, I was like, yeah, you definitely love those stuff.
No, I like more documentaries. I like to watch, I guess, real stuff, but stuff that took place that I can learn from, or shows about things that could be documentaries. So I really liked the show about Uber.
Oh, I watched that. No way you saw that. That's crazy.
Super Pumped.
Oh my God.
That was really
That's
good.
crazy.
That's
that's surprising that you watch it. But I'm like you. I love to
documentary.
watch stuff that inspiring me.
Yeah.
Check out the playlist.
The playlist.
Yeah,
What is
it's
that
on
about?
Netflix. So you guys have to check it out. It's the guy who invented Spotify.
Okay. So, we have similar minds. I like to
my
watch
God,
stuff
it's
where I
like,
can
I
learn
just
and be
watch it.
inspired. Yeah.
One of the best shows. I mean, the guy was like grew up with nothing and decided to like invented Spotify. He saw kind of the trend going with the
Yeah.
music.
See,
Crazy.
that's awesome. That's what I like to watch. I don't really care about like people dating and like being in this.
No, to me, like sometimes I like to watch it like once a week just to kind of like off with like when my head is like too much in business like throughout the week. I just need to like turn it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm just scrolling on Instagram when I'm like really
Yeah.
turning off. But if I want like alone, cozy time where I just need to relax and be by myself because I'm always around people and giving my energy, and I am a super mega empath. So I need to like retract and be a recluse in my bed.
Back to
and
reality.
I'll watch like murder documentaries.
Oh gosh.
And stuff for fun. But again, I really love the inspiring shows. I really like, I forget which platform this was on, but I think it's called Song Exploder or Explorer. And it goes through how artists created a song. And it's just super entertaining and also inspiring to see how a creative's mind works. So hopefully this podcast can kind of give some of that energy to the viewers and they'll get something from this. But
so I want to ask you, why is all the girls love like murder stuff and all of this craziness? Like
I used to be shy to
like,
admit it, and now I'm realizing it's common.
like literally it's so like if you go on Google and you'll see like most watched like series by women, it's like trauma.
I have a theory. It's because women have been in this world where since the moment we're born, we're told that we are being, we have predators. So from the moment we're born, we're always being told, don't go outside, don't go here, don't do this because a man will kidnap you or they'll murder you or they'll do this or they'll hurt you. So I think growing up in this environment, when you get to watch something and actually see something happen or learn about something happening that you were told could happen to you your whole life, but you haven't experienced it, it's like our way of learning about something we've always, been told that could happen to us, which is kind of messed up, but makes sense. It's like correlated some way,
I guess.
I don't know. I promise I'm not like a crazy psycho killer or anything watching these. I think I'm just curious, honestly. I'm like, how did that happen? How did that happen? And how do I avoid it?
Yeah, right? That's pretty crazy. I mean, I kind of watched this statistic the other day and my head was blowing, but I guess it's whatever. I want to talk to you about the next topic. I feel like this topic will be so interesting to, I guess, a lot of girls. What are your take on OnlyFans? I mean, I see it all the time here in Miami. I don't know. I don't even want to say what I think about it, but I want to ask you as a girl.
I don't want to be too judgmental. I'm friends with girls on OnlyFans and, to each their own, whatever. It's not a brand I can ever, and I knew this since I was young, a brand that I could ever involve myself with or even be attached to. So, and the reason is, I'm a model actress in a way where my goals, in order to get where I want to be, they wouldn't even want to hire me or work with me if I was correlated with a brand name like that or anything related. So I have to be very careful, with my reputation and things that I say, things that I post, things that I do. And I've always had that mindset since I was in high school because of the dance teams I were on. They had their own rules and regulations about parties, posting, stuff like that. So I was already kind of in the mindset to be on the right path for what I want to do. Thankfully, I had amazing dance teachers and people that were like very attentive to what I was posting. I even had a dance teacher ask me to delete stuff before. Which, it's kind of embarrassing at the time, but I'm really thankful because it kept me out of trouble and kept my brand name clean. And that way I can work with the brands.
So like
and people that I want.
my kind of opinion on that is that, it's kind of like, a lot of girls are, for me, it's like kind of like an easy way, but I also have a lot of respect to girls that, make a good living for that. And building the brand, I guess, from that, it's definitely helped a lot of girls.
I think that a lot of people make a lot of money from it, and that's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Personally, for me, I think God has a different destiny for me and a different path for me. And I think by following his likeness and trying to stay focused on my goals and things that he sets for me to do, I'm stumbling over my words now. I'm more
Like,
successful
yes, that's
in
the
what I
word.
do because I'm following his path that he set for me than something that seems easier and quicker to get money.
Wow. So you mentioned God. Is that like, are you big in religion? And, you
Yeah.
know, because I love it, you know, I'm obviously a believer in God. And for me, God is like everything, you know, I pray, I donate, I give back
Oh,
to the
awesome.
community. But I want to ask you, like, how's your take on that? Like how connected you are to religion and God?
So I was raised Christian, and then I found God on my own. Don't know how to explain it other than I was a teenager, and maybe when you're growing up and you kind of learn things on your own,
Yeah.
I just felt a lot of love, and I was like, wow, God is love. I had this like realization at 14 years old. So I became passionate about it on my own. And even my parents stopped really going to church, but I still go. And even moving to Miami, I found my church VU, which is awesome. And I'm not the best Christian ever. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I try to stay focused because it's what keeps me with the right mindset and
I
heart
agree.
and energy to be successful and happy and peaceful in life. Just staying focused on Him. So, yeah, I think it's really important to have a connection, a spiritual connection with God. I know there's a million different religions out there. I actually majored in not only marketing, but international studies, and I had to study religions. So I respect everyone's own, spiritual path. I think it's awesome when someone's passionate about their religion versus someone who just says, I don't really know what I believe in.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. But for me, I know the truth, and I hope everyone else gets to know the truth that I do too.
No, I agree with you. I think there is no right or wrong, right? Like everybody take their own religion to their path. And I think it's also like kind of like seasons in your life. Sometimes you could be more believing and more going to church or temple, whatever. And sometimes you might, put it on the side. And so I want to ask you, you mentioned that you had a couple of questions from the
yeah.
followers. So I'm
Let's
curious
pull
to
that
know,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, so I asked some people on Instagram what they want to know about my career. I'll pull those questions up now.
Let's do it. There is a commercial break right now.
Commercial break, because, I turned my Wi-Fi off, that's why.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
Meanwhile, make sure you guys tune in to Tom Talk Success on Instagram, and make sure to follow Tom Grobman on Instagram and follow Nicole.
Nicole_Wallace_dance. It's a long one, but it's worth
No,
it.
yeah,
I'm never changing it. I've had it since like middle school.
I like it. It's a long one, but it's
Yeah,
worth it.
It's a long one, but it's a good one. I just got a request from my agent right now for
Wow.
audition self-tape.
Here we
so
go.
There we go.
Here we go. We're getting
Okay,
some.
so first question, what were your first steps? For everyone, it's different. First steps as in what? I mean, I started as a dancer, so then I competed. I won nationals. It was awesome. I wanted to be a professional. And then did Pacemates, so I danced professionally, did a couple of music videos. And then from there, I took acting and modeling more seriously. So I just paid attention to the brands and the people I wanted to work with, reached out to them, started my portfolio, got connected with photographers, built my portfolio up there, and then eventually got connected with agents and built my portfolio more and more. So I think what were your first steps? It's just finding the people you want to work with. Like, look on Instagram, photographers,
I think it's
models,
more like
dancers in your area.
I think it's more like you showed up in the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's not like, you weren't like trying to figure out everything in the beginning. You just like showed up. You went to audition. You went to meet people.
I looked for it and
Exactly.
I came. Yeah, you're right.
Like it doesn't
So-
know everything, and there's no way for us, for every individual to know everything right off the bat. You just need to kind of show up.
Yeah. And so, just look. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm a dancer. I'm new in town. What do I do? Well, you just look up dancers. Like Instagram, everything's at your fingertips. So, keyword search dance or whatever, dance studio. Start following the dance team. Same with anything else, really. And then from there, I think having a casting networks, Actors Access, which I still need low-key, and Backstage profile are really important. It took me a while to invest in those because there is some money you have to put towards those. But once I actually invested, you have to take the time to sit down, make your portfolio on each of those apps or websites, and then you have to keep it updated. So it takes a lot of time to do what you want. A lot of people are like, how do you get booked as much as you, which is the next question. Actors Access, casting networks, Backstage. I paid for it. I took days. I literally locked myself in my apartment for a week and just made my portfolios and then submit
And you
all
mentioned
day.
also to reach out, right? Not to be afraid to reach out.
So that's where submitting comes. You got to get on to those websites every single day after your portfolio and just submit, to a few or the few that popped up and then keep on top of it. And then brands will book you and then they'll book you again. And then you post on Instagram and someone sees it and someone on Instagram asks you to work for them. So that's how I got started. And that's how I get booked as much as I do.
Wow.
It's really a lot more simple than people make it.
Any other questions there?
Yeah, when did you decide on this path? Again, it was just something I always wanted to do. Like, I think as a dancer, someone who was into movies, but I think my real decision, it was when I knew I couldn't do a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I think just the past few months, now that I'm getting older, it's like, okay, it's this or go home. It's this or give up. And I'm not going to give up. So I don't even really, I don't have a plan B. This is my plan A. This is my full-time thing.
We're going all in.
I think that's what made me decide it was this or nothing.
So I always like to kind of end the podcast in this question. What does success means to you?
Success to me is just, I guess there's so many different definitions of success, but number one, just being happy. But you can be happy doing a lot of things. So I think setting your goals and then working towards achieving those, you'll achieve things one way or another, and that will make you happy.
Wow. Nicole, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. We had a great episode together, and I really hope, the audience learned a lot from you and about your career. And I feel like you gave a lot of good tips, especially on how to start with, modeling career and content creation. You even gave some good tips on how to use Instagram. And so what is the best way for the audience to connect with you?
Connect with me on Instagram at Nicole_Wallace_dance and send me a DM or an email. My email's on there as well.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much again for, tuning in and learning about Nicole. Great story. And so make sure you put the subscribe button, make sure you like, make sure you share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.